All right, shall we start then? All right. So, very good afternoon. Assalamualaikum to everyone. Hi, my name is Shaiful, your moderator for today. So, welcome again to Sembrani 2.0 Heritage Around Us, our monthly webinar or sharing platform by ICOMOS Malaysia. This Sembrani 2.0 is partly part of our initiative to actually share um, um, news as well as current trend of heritage in Malaysia for members, for ICOMOS members, and also for the public. So today we're going to be having two speakers with us who's going to be sharing a very interesting topic, and both of them are from Sarawak. So our first speaker is hold on, let me just check so that I can read the biodata. Very interesting speakers that we have today. So our first speaker is architect Dominic Chua Kwong O. He is actually a registered architect with Board of Architects Malaysia, and also with registered conservator with National Heritage Department Malaysia. He is also a registered EIA consultant with Natural Resources Environment Board Sarawak, and a registered GBI facilitator with GBI, Green Building Index Malaysia. He graduated with Bachelor of Architecture First Class Honours from University of Melbourne, Australia in 1983, and later obtained his Master of Environmental Management from UNIMAS in 2005. Architect Dominic has worked with Public Works Department Sarawak for 15 years before he runs his own architectural practice in 2003 until now. And for your information as well, Architect Dominic is a member of ICOMOS, a board member of ICOMOS Malaysia since 2019, and currently serving second terms as executive board member. He's also associate member of ICOMOS International Scientific Committee, ISC, on fortifications and military heritage. So his presentation today will be on Fort Emma, one of the fort in Kuching, Sarawak, in Kanawit, Sarawak. So without further ado, I'll pass the floor to you, Architect Dom, please.
Thank you very much, Secretary General Dr. Saiful. And also thank you, ICOMOS Malaysia, for inviting me to share some of my experience on this particular project, Fort Emma, which is timber fort. Maybe most of the forts that you heard about could be stone or concrete, but this is made of timber, especially made from billion timber, which is wood, which is quite unique in Sarawak. So is my slide shared already, or what? Or I have to?
Yeah, you have to share your slides. Yes.
I have to share my slide. Yeah. So share. Okay, it's up, right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So once again, welcome to this short sharing from myself. As you can see, it is Saving Fort Emma. Thank you, Dr. Saiful, for choosing this title. In fact, it's true. As you can see from the front photo, the central one is the restored fort, and on the left and right are the before photos. Quickly, just now you have introduced me already, so I'll just go through a bit. So these are some of the projects that I've been involved. Fort Emma in red, which is we are presenting today. There's another similar timber fort, ironwood fort in Fort Brook, Julau. But my role is slightly different as a contractor conservator doing all the documentation. In fact, this timber fort is a lot bigger than Fort Emma. Okay, very interesting also. And the other project, Brook Dockyard, basically a industrial heritage. In Kuching, actually, it's completed already. I think the exhibition design is being done now. I think we should be ready sometime this year. And also I'm involved in one, they call All Resident and District Office in Miri, 1912. I think as a conservation advisor to the architect lah. So we have come up with contributed to the feasibility study to convert this old office into a heritage sort of precinct, in Miri. So in fact, Sarawak has many forts. There's a list of 21 forts over the years, So some already it has been demolished. I think only 15 or 16 left lah. So the one in bold are the one that has been restored already. Home Margarita, Fort Alice, Betong, Brook, Emma, and then Host in Barudi, Lindang, Limbang. For the rest are still, some are demolished and some are in the process, I think, by the Sarawak government to restore some of them. So these are some of the photos of those that has been already restored. I said Kapit, Fort Sylvia on the left, on the right bottom, is still in a fairly good condition, I think, but it is going to be sort of restored back again. Kanawik, just for your info, just have some sort of, so you can see from the map of Sarawak is somewhere in between Cebu and Song and Kapit. So these are just give you some context of the site. So once again, on the bottom right, you can see this one from Google Map that it is actually, most of the forts are actually next to the river on the highland. So this is what it is before restoration, quite dilapidated. And then we have like the telecommunication, having officers there, and it was already declared unsafe at the time before restoration, because due to the erosion next to the building, already Public Works Department have declared unsafe, so they have to move out. So it was just left there. In fact, when we are doing the design at that time, during the tender stage, there's a big erosion next to it near the town center, town square. So we are actually at that time quite worried that the whole building might topple off. Okay, so this is some details. Client is the museum department. Implementing agency is the Public Works Department. We are the conservation architect. We have CNS, MAE, and QS and surveyor. And the conservation advisor is Prof. Ghaffar for this project. And we also engage a project researcher looking into the history, all the documents, maps, and all that. This Jade Noraliza. And during the construction, the contractor has appointed Architect Harris to be the contractor conservation to do all the documentation. So just some in context, 18 months contract, supposed to finish December 2019, but eventually 14th of March, that is just before the COVID started on March the 20th, before the lockdown. And the final handing over 16th of July, when there is a small window when COVID restrictions are lightened, then we quickly did the handing over, right? Okay, there are some images of the fort over the years, and in fact, this painting on the left bottom is very critical in our design. So we have from Public Works Department, ourselves as architect, and then the conservation advisor, we go through before the tender actually, which is good and a lot of things have been included into the documentation and the contract itself. So so this is the survey of the fort before. You can see near the corner there, that is the erosion. You can see it's already next to the building already. So the hatch area is actually the boundary for this fort. So you can see the boundary is, the land is quite small. So at the bottom there is the riverfront, and at the top there, the round part, that is the town square. So, but this is in survey. So just give you some idea, you can see on the right top. So you see the erosion is next to the apron already. You must know that the distance from the height from the fort to the river is about more than 10 meters, So it's a very high, and it was very risky at that time. So you can see how the condition at that time. So the first thing we did, of course, is the measure drawing. So we spent a few days there, my staff and we stayed there, and we managed to get the measured drawings done. Just give you some idea. And here, there's a toilet, the ground floor, basically timber platform. and some sort of concrete looking floor with the toilet inside. Upstairs with some gypsum board partition. So this is the major drawing. And also, okay, just to give you some idea from the left, waterfront there. So we have to join up. Upstairs, you can see the partition from Celcom. That is the telecommunication company with all the partition. That's why they have to move out because it's unsafe. Then you can see that on the ground floor, a lot of concrete stumps there. Some are already broken, and so that's why the structural integrity we are very concerned. And down there we can see there's a mascot rhino. It's quite common for councils to have different animal, fruits or fish for the district. And the left and the right bottom, you can see all the trees are grown already. So we are actually quite. And then after that, at the same time, we as architect, we also did the dilapidation report and recommend what to be demolished. But basically, we want to retain all the original material. That is the pillion or the ironwood, the structure, the roof, not the roofing. The roofing normal already is still roofing, but the truss, the trellis, there's not, and then the external cladding and all that. So as you can see, the stumps are all over the years. I think the pillion might have eroded, so they just cast some sort of concrete there. Somehow it still stand. So the except the side column, they are all still very good in structurally. So even at the bottom right there, you see the planks. These are all pillion planks, So at the bottom there, exposed to weather, or that some are already kind of rotten, so it had to be replaced. But to retain as much as possible the original material. So all the windows are actually new ones, so we have to remove the doors, the grill, again, astro antenna, all that. Now you can see somehow. One thing interesting, the columns, they are all different shapes. Some are round, some are square, some are octagonal. The story is that in the era of James Brooke, each village maybe were asked to bring one big column, so they're all different shapes. And mind you, this one was first built in 1851. James Brooke came to Sarawak in 1841. So these are one of the very early fort that is being built. So this from the dilapidation report, all this concrete, we are going to remove it. And very interesting, there's what we call a clay crocodile. This one was, they assembled the crocodile shape kind of using clay and earth. So this one we will retain, we'll just shift it. The staircase, still quite good actually, all pillion. So all the knuckle window adjustable, we will remove it. There is a mermaid there. In fact, there's a story behind this mermaid. That's why I put it such a. This color is a bit gaudy, but never mind. We're going to shift it, right? So this is our proposal after months and months of discussion and with the client, with museum, even public works department. Public works department, there are a couple of architects who are handling this project. So everybody has their view, and then from the conservation advisor. So eventually, mainly on the conservation of the fort itself, but the how we handle the erosion and the retaining wall and the walkway, of course, we came out with this one. So this is what we propose to join from the waterfront at the bottom there to link up to the town square up there. And there is a kind of height difference also, about 2 meters. So we provide, we restore there, we provide ramps, which can be used for viewing also, because at the bottom, it goes straight to the town center. So this is maybe a clearer picture. It's actually next to the river. So in fact, this is the second proposal. The first proposal, we actually wanted a 2-layer kind of a walkway. But after calculating costs and all that, we have to trim it down. So this walkway is about 70 meters, this retaining wall, a curved retaining wall. And the red building actually is the district council office. So our restoration focus on the building itself lah, and the immediate surrounding. You must know the red line here, that is the boundary for the fort. The other green part actually belongs to the council. So in fact, museum has already taken steps to acquire it lah. So to find out. So okay, then after that, they come our design. The roofing is a very important component. Originally, they are all made of billion shingles. But billion shingles, as you know, they are not as watertight. So over the years, of course, that's why they were changed to steel metal roofing. So we have this, but in order to have billion shingles, we have to have different layers of roofing, which I will show you later. So ground floor, we sort of took out the toilet inside. It was a bit quite smelly and all that. So and we have a counter office, and the blue one actually we have allocated 3 rooms, ground floor and up there for air conditioning rooms, in anticipating that there might be some exhibit which need some sort of air conditioning. So but eventually it didn't happen, so we didn't put in that partition actually. So then we have a walkway around the fort itself. You can see concrete slab, so that people can walk around it. So this is our final proposal that goes to tender lah. As you can see, it's like suspended from our research. It's supposed to be like that lah, but as in most restoration project, what you tender and the eventual works that need to be done need to be adjusted on site lah. And so this is the basis for our tender. So this is maybe give you a better idea lah, on how it looks. Except the retaining wall, it eventually is decided to go a very smooth sort of gradient instead of a steep one. Yeah, because this is the proposal we presented to the state government, because in Sarawak, all building projects need to go through what they call State Planning and Building Design Committee to approve all government projects. Even though it's just a small toilet, you still need to go through. So this is some of the comments that they make. Okay, number one, the mermaid, we actually shifted from the ramp area to face the river, and then the fencing, we initially put a high fencing, but they want something that they don't want to sort of hide it lah. But for security reasons, when we lower the fencing, we actually have to put in CCTV and alarm. Okay, this is the entrance. So it's decided that the entrance should be wider. So we amend all those things lah. So and then you go for tender. It's actually one of the longest project that I have done. Usually it doesn't take that long to go for tender, but due to the heritage aspect, so there's a lot of discussion and decisions to be made. So okay, after tender, so the handover the project, there is a handing over ceremony. So it's a ceremony by the local native, the Iban, to be carried out. There are the 3 lawyers who are Prof. Gaffa, 3 warriors, sorry. And it's a ceremony, and a pig has to be killed, right? And also, because inside the original fort, there is a basket of human skulls, I think about 15 or 16 of them, which are more than 100 years old already. So that need to be relocated outside the fort so that we can do the work inside, right? So we have to make a special temporary housing on the left bottom to hide it during the construction, to sort of keep it there during construction. It's a more spiritual aspect. Right? So this ceremony with all these community leaders, the warriors, and the local assemblyman is here also. They are already allowed inside the contract. So we have a provisional sum to allow for a few of these community engagement activity. So it has to be allowed. Otherwise, usually there's no money, right? No additional funds for it. So the YB is there, local assemblyman is there. So, okay, the first thing regarding this, that's why initially we are very worried about the safety, the stability of the whole thing. So before we start anything on the building itself, we actually do the retaining wall first. You can see how it just happened that is around the water was low, so the contractor have to be very fast within those few months to finish the retaining wall, quite massive retaining wall actually. Because once the water rises, it is the same level as the road in the town already. So all this will be underwater. So that's why we have to quickly do this one. We did a borehole test just outside the building and construct this. So, okay, so while the retaining wall is being built, so we only do the inside. We haven't started with the roof. We don't want to disturb any of the structures yet. So like you can see like on the right hand side, you can see the column. Original, they are white, right? So all the paints for all the timber are stripped off. Not sandblasting, it's just those shrivel thing, like sandpapering, but using the machine one. Slowly, very tedious, took a long time. And but the conservator and us, we don't want them to destroy the original material. So we took all the paints off first after doing the paint analysis to find out the original paint color and the number of layers. Here you can see Architect Harris, who is the contractor conservator, discussing on how to go about all this. So quite challenging. As you can see, this one investigation was foundation. So actually one of the foundation columns here, we actually have to hack in through and see what's down there. But some of the columns actually is actually supporting on nothing, because that concrete stump already maybe settled or what. So somehow the whole structure is still there, So that's why after they go through that investigation, we decide to put a concrete stump down there with a proper one, and then extend the billion column, extend it and connect to the existing billion column. We have to find the grade. That's why all this had to be the timber. All this had to be sent to forest department to verify the type, the strength, and the species. Of course, it's billion, but billion also got a few species. So the replacement will be the similar. So bottom left, we have myself, the two conservator, contractor, and the public works department architect also. So, and okay, so while this thing is going on, we have the first community engagement. As you can see, the works are already carried out especially on the retaining wall. So this is a community engagement where the consultant, the public, the government, we actually brief the government officers. So most of the people there are from the government departments, district office and all that. So is to educate them what is going on and what we are intending to do. So the museum department give a briefing, myself, of course, and then Prof. Gaffa, and then the engineer, the QS, and everybody will present it. So again, this sort of engagement will cost some money, So already we have allowed inside the contract already as a provisional item. So by the time we sort of strip off everything, so this house it look like. And you can see how the column, the new columns are being spliced into the existing column. You can see, so we sort of work it out like that. So down there will be concrete stump, but this time we do it properly, they excavate down with the proper RC and all that. Initially, it looks like a concrete slab, but these are just like mass concrete, and they are of uneven thickness, and some thick, so it's not very stable. So again, this one take a bit of time, and then you can see the bottom left there, the how it's been spliced into it, and then anchored into the concrete slab, concrete foundation down there. One interesting thing is the site where we're going to put on the walkway. So this is actually, we designed this with engineers, is to capture the rainwater from the roof, because this type of fort, there will not be no gutters. So all the rain from the roof will kind of sort of fall onto the ground here to avoid any erosion of the soil. So the whole thing is actually a drain, you know. And this is the pebbles and all that, but underneath is actually like a drain cover, which quite a deep drain down there all around the building to drain off any rainwater. This is 1.8 meters wide. So on the right bottom, you can see the slabs are already on. So actually any water that falling will be drained off. And originally there is a single layer of brickwork here, where the timber external cladding stops. So eventually, together with the conservator, we decided to build a double brick wall to contain the inside lah, all the earth and all of going to be backfill. And then the billion panels will continue to the ground there. So you'll see how it. The center bottom, you can see we actually knock a hole into the wall and see what's happening inside before we take those decisions. And also, so that's how it is. You can see the billion column. The bottom part are new, embedded into the concrete foundation footing. And then after that, we will do a proper slab on top. And I just show this during that excavation, we actually did one archaeological pit. Dr. Saiful, you might appreciate this. So these are some of the cannonballs that we found out. So this is the archaeological pit. In fact, we allowed 3 archaeological pits in the contract, but eventually after they do one, they say that's sufficient. So actually, this is a company, I think some of them from USM in Penang, you know. So there are a few experts, archaeologists from there, and after that they did a report and display all the things that they have excavated lah. Just now you see actually there's some cannonballs, the bottom part of a whiskey bottle. So they are able to like label it in the years, you know. So the most bottom one will be James Brooke era lah. So then the Charles Brooke and the different Brooke era, when the base has been built up lah. So this is all the equipment they use during the archaeological dig. So okay, so once the retaining wall is done with the big walkway there, the connection, you can see there's a slope. So at least that is stable lah. You must see the original erosion is up to that corner already, corner of the building. So now with this one, it's stabilized the whole, at least the surrounding lah. And with the works done inside with the columns, so the whole building is quite stable structurally. So after the retaining wall completed, as you can see, so we just take a picture. You can see it's actually sloping. It's a 2 meter difference from left to right. Okay. So at that time, the roof of the building we haven't touched, because we dare not even do the temporary roofing, because temporary roofing you need a structure around it to carry the temporary roofing. So we just do the ramps and the surrounding first. Okay, so as we know, we want the billion shingles, so we actually quickly go do a visit of the billion supplier near Sirike, the whole team there. So eventually we selected well-seasoned billion shingles, 6 mm thick or 8 mm. So eventually we select the 6 mm lah, because it's lighter also lah. And the mock-up was done for the billion shingles. As you can see, billion shingles, the batons, we have a metal sheet, we have a waterproof plywood, and then insulation and all that. So quite a number of layers to make sure there's no leakage. So after this is approved by everybody, so okay, the temporary roof is starting to come out, right? So just there just to give you a sense of the scale. It's quite a huge. Then halfway through the second community engagement, this one with the different, again, the government officer and students also from the UTS invited the student. I think about 100, more than 100 people attended. So again, this is also allowed into the contract. So this sort of project, we need to engage with the community. Otherwise, there'll be a lot of questions and probably complaints. So once they know what's happening and how important it is for the heritage, then everybody is be more comfortable with because it takes a long time, almost 2 years to finish. So these are some of the press releases that we made. So the billion shingles are up. You see, the truss, those are original truss, 4 billion. So billion shingles, you can see after it's done, it actually look very nice. So you can see, and the toilet outside, we moved the toilet outside, but the toilet inside is a modern toilet lah. On the outside, we clad it with billion panels, so to give it that look. And then the other shade is the crocodile. We call it crocodile shade lah, but actually it's not of clay and earth crocodile. So we built a new shape with billion shingles. So after, you can see on the right hand side, before we do the billion flooring, I mean, this is more or less how it is before we finish off with the finishes. So the first floor, because all the floors, they are not really tightly together. That means there are actually holes, there are gaps, I won't say holes, and gaps in between. So when you walk upstairs, the dust will come down, right? So that is not preferable. So every piece of the first flooring boards are taken out and sort of refurbished, make it straight so that there's no gaps. So after doing all that, removing the damaged part, you can see here near the staircase, these are all new. Because after we go through the whole upper floor floorboards, so after and then pushing them together to close the gaps, so we have to add in new billion. So the thickness of that will be compatible with the existing ones. So on the ground floor, you can see we put on the concrete slab, as you see just now, and billion battens before we put on the billion floorboards on the ground floor also. Some are on the ground floor. At the same time, you can see all the external panels are already, we took off already. So we have to clean it up, repair it. Some damage we have to cut off and connect new billion panels on to the existing one. But we keep as much as we can, whatever that can be used. So you can see, these are all billion timber, So ground floor, okay, on the right hand side, you can see how we splice it in to connect the two columns with the bolts and all that. And ground floor and envision first floor, that's how it finished under billion shingle roof. With what you see is the original truss plus the plywood that is, the later will vanish it. That will be the finished product. So, okay. So you just give you some idea on how we do it. The external panel are the last one to be fixed eventually. Let's say at the center bottom, we can see the external panel. We sort of clean it up so that they can be, again, the wall panels originally, there's a lot of gaps, which means when it rains, some of the rain will actually get into the building. So all these are straightened and all that so that it's more watertight. So completed interiors from upstairs. Actually, we have air condition. We keep the air conditioning and some fans, and then the electrical conduits will be painted according, it's painted black lah, or dark chocolate lah, to match with the roof truss and the columns and all that. And on the ground floor, on the bottom right, you can see all the columns now, all painted, all nicely. And then you can see the windows there. Those are like grill type. Those are all timber, all Malayan timber, to follow the old style of windows that is being built. We also have references from so many forts lah. So what we can do, especially some of the elements are missing. Okay, on the top left, you can see the windows there. There is this trellis, right? Trellis. Actually, existing one, we don't have any trellis, but most timber forts in Sarawak have this trellis. It's a security feature, so we include that in. And we also have mosquito netting, because even if it's exposed, the birds will come in, all the insects will come in, also very problematic. So like the other fort in Julau, the birds will be making nests up there, so eventually all these have to have insect netting to prevent that from happening. So this is the finished one from different angles. The front part, the staircase have been widened. You can see the fencing is low. Okay, there's a SESCO post. Eventually, we applied for this post to be taken off and using the underground from the utility. And down there, aircon, for the aircon, we also cover it with billion sort of boxes to that one, to be compatible. And then the toilet, you can see on the right, modern toilet, but only the cladding outside is billion plus the roofing lah. So again, that's how it looks after we take out. So the whole place is like we got the RC slabs on it lah. So I did test with the mobility for wheelchair on the ramp lah, which is important also lah. I mean, it's not like smooth, but it is okay. Yeah? So after the project, we finish it off there, the project team with all the client and museum, public works department, the consultant team, sort of. You see the king on the top of the fascia board. This is the original fascia. So we just sort of clean it up, and somehow it's still there. So we leave it there. The mermaid, we sort of repair it. It's all fiberglass lah. Repair it just to give a sense of the scale. The original, it looks a bit gaudy, so just refurb it. But and then the rhino also, we also repaired it. The ears drop off, the horn drop off. So it's all repaired and repainted. And the reason I put here, because this is quite popular with tourists lah, maybe cultural tourism. The tourists will go there, and of course they will stand in front of this big sign. Okay, the timber at the back are all billion timber, right? So originally it's just the stainless steel, but it's a bit difficult to see. So eventually we propose a timber sort of backdrop. So also very popular with tourists. And the mermaid and the rhino. So this is the finished drone view from different angles. Like you can see waterfront join up to the town square, and a different angle from the river. As you can see, this is at that time the river is quite high, right? You can see it's almost reaching the road already. So from different angles. So so the practical completion, we sign over the museum with the public works department, myself, and the consultant team conservator at the back here. So eventually it was handed over during COVID, but there's a window after the lockdown, so it was handed over. But it's supposed to be made into a museum, but as I understand, until now, I think museum is still in the process of putting up the exhibition. In fact, in our contract, we did allow few 100,000 for the exhibition. But you normally exhibition, you need a bit of storyline, and then you need to get what artifacts to exhibit and all that. So that was taken out from the contract. So this is, thank you. And this is a view from the river itself. So at that time, it was still, the water level is low, but this is during the roofing stage. I was traveling to Kapit, so I passed that place from the express port, so I took a picture. Not very clear, but give you some idea. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you very much, Architect Dominic. Very interesting presentation on the fort, and also all the things that you have to do before you do the restorations, you know, the mirroring. That's very interesting. So we will, I believe we have so many questions, but for those who want to ask a question, you can type in the chat box, and I'll read it after the second presentation. So we move on to our second presentation by Dr. Elena Gregoria Chai Chin Fern, with the title of the tangible, the intangible of tangible. Dr. Elena Chai is an associate professor at University of Malaysia, Sarawak, UNIMAS. She is currently seconded to the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts Sarawak to head the arts, culture and heritage section. Her expertise includes ethnography, rituals, heritage impact, and social impact assessment. Her research spans from heritage studies in Laos, Kalimantan, and Sarawak. She has written books on the supernatural world of Laos, Kalimantan, and Sarawak. Her present research revolves around the forts, Kliriang, or burial poles, and belief system in Sarawak. So the presentation today is the title, The Intangible of the Tangible. So the floor is yours, Dr. Elena, please.
So thank you very much for this opportunity to share. Just talking, mine is not so much on the tangible, but more on the intangible. And I see some friends' names that I'm familiar with. Okay. So what Dominic shared just now was very interesting, because behind my my backdrop is actually Fort Emma. So I did a research on the forts in Sarawak, and I have to say I must correct Mr. Dominic, because there are 23 forts that was built in Sarawak, and there are now only 14, and 13 are gazetted. So the museum is trying to gazette one more, that is Fort Rani at Saratok. Okay, so tangible and intangible, I think most of us know what that is. And in Sarawak, we have many of these. And some of these are like our oral traditions, parap of the Orang Ulu. And then we have many kinds of rituals, right? So I'll skip that. And just for our information, as of July 2024, UNESCO has recognized 1,223 World Heritage Sites across 168 countries, but only 676 elements of the intangible cultural heritage from 140 countries. So where does Malaysia stand, right? So for our country, Malaysia, we have 5 tangible heritage, and mostly these are actually, most of these are natural sites, yeah. So for Sarawak, we are very fortunate. We have the Mulu and also the Nia. And for intangible heritage, we have 8. Yeah, and the last was the breakfast culture in Malaysia. But unfortunately, out of this intangible heritage, none is to Sarawak. Yeah, okay. So it is not very this is not a very fortunate news for us lah. Yeah. So now in Sarawak, we have Heritage Ordinances, Antiquities Ordinance, 1954, and then we have the Cultural Heritage Ordinance, 1993, and the latest is the Sarawak Heritage Ordinance, 2019. And as of now, we have 80 heritage sites, buildings, and monuments that have been gazetted. 80, but 0 of our intangible cultural heritage gazetted. Okay, so we must expedite that. And so these are our demography or what can I say about I mean like our ethnic groups, yeah. So we have 34 ethnic groups in Sarawak. And so what I'm trying to say here is basically we have enough, yeah. We have more than enough to actually propose to be gazetted or recognized as intangible cultural heritage. Okay, so if we look at this somewhere, these are how our population distribution is, yeah, in Sarawak. So it is very diverse and unique. Okay, I'll skip this again. And then what I'm trying to say here is, if you look at our maps, we have a lot of rivers. Okay, so there are about how many? 22 major river basins and more than 283 river networks. So in Sarawak, you will see Sungai and you will see Batang. Yeah, so there is our very interesting feature as well. Okay, so for those who are not from Sarawak, please come to Sarawak and we will tell you more. Okay, so this is one of my research. Today I'm sharing two of my research. One is on the forts and the people and its people. So forts are a locus for the bazaar town, and most of our bazaar towns is along the river, right? And it is closely associated with the people and their lives. It has become a locus of collective memory, and the bazaar is it becomes the bazaar's defining or distinctive character, the fort, yeah. So in almost every small bazaar that we go, there will be a Jalan Kubu, yeah, the fort road, yeah, Jalan Kubu, yeah. So it is a space, a monument, and it is a place where people group together. And of course, there are some not very happy happenings where people, people are trial there, but it is a place where people come and people apply, people get together, or it is like Fort Marudi. I think the one in Marudi will be my favorite fort because there's a lot of stories. Yeah, if you walk around and ask the shopkeepers, they can tell you many stories. Yeah. So it is not just occupying the physical landscape, but it's also a part of the social landscape and the cultural landscape of the bazaar town. So as individual, we acquire memory over time as we grow up and old. And place also acquire memory as time passes. Okay? So when we go to a bazaar town, okay, I think most of our ICOMOS Malaysia friends have not been outside of except for Cebu, yeah. So I think you should go to Semangang. Yeah, you should go to places like Julau. You should go to places like Kanawit. Yeah, we will see it as a landmark. Okay, the landmark is the weakness of the past of the bazaar and how the bazaar come into existence, survival, and resilience. So these are some of the photos from the Sarawak Museum on the forts of Sarawak. Okay, some of these forts have been relocated, yeah, okay, because of soil erosion and all that. And so these are the one that I have plotted on the Google map. But these are the ones that I have plotted on the maps, yeah. And these are all the 23 forts. Okay, so if you see Fort Florence is no more in existence. Then we have Fort Vienna is also not there anymore, but we have we also have Fort Keppel, not there anymore. And the one in Fort Burdett in Muka. Okay, so there are many forts that has been taken down or been destroyed. For example, like the one in Muka, it was destroyed during the World War II, yeah, when the airplane flew over and there was some fire and all that. So out of these 14 forts, actually only Fort Rainy, the remaining forts, only Fort Rainy has not been gazetted. So our museum is trying to have it gazetted, yeah. And then so now how do I go about with my forts and its people's research? So I look into readings, so like for example in Frederick Boyle's book, yeah, The Adventures Among the Dialects of Borneo. Then I can find all these Sekarang, Lingga, all that. So what do these earlier adventurers write about the forts? Okay, then I also look at how these forts are written by the colonial officers or the residents. Yeah, so I refer a lot to the Sarawak Gazette, right? Like Fort Charles in Malacca, fort in Muka. It's stated as fort in Muka. Yeah, only later on it was named as Fort Burdett, and Bintulu Fort, Fort Keppel. Okay, and then like the one that architect Dominic is working for Emma. So you see, there's a lot of interesting stories if we read through the Sarawak Gazette. Yeah, August 18, 1883, reached Cebu at 8:30. The resident and Mr. Falconer came on board, and then one of the 27 Dayak chiefs who had received notice to attend only 2 days away, yeah, who live in a great distance and had barely had time to reach Kanawit. So then we see that, there's a lot of stories, yeah, that it is from the colonials perspective, but it is about the people at that time. So from this documents, we can actually try to comprehend what actually happened around the fort, around the bazaar town, yeah. The tita, like this one, the tita or commission of each penghulu having been given to him together with a Sarawak flag, they then sat down to a banquet which has been prepared for them, after which a display of fireworks was given near the fort. Yeah, they form a startling novelty for the majority of the Dayaks. So these are the things that I looked through in my research. Yeah, and then we have the fort in Blaga, Fort Viner. Some would arrive yesterday evening, the fort man leveling the ground upon which the fort is to be built. Oyong Lhasa pays me a visit and presents me with a goat. Some says that some Dayak had been using the farm fences for firewood. So here again, yeah, and then he does not mind them helping themselves to the vegetables. The Sihan arrives with Surian, yeah. Yes. So here we can see there's a lot of things going on, yeah, but it was quite harmonious, yeah. So it's okay. And then so this one is Fort Viner, no longer in existence. It was built in 1884, yeah. So the one previously was about that fort in Blaga, Fort Viner. Okay, so a part of that, I also interview people who have worked, yeah, inside the fort, like Datuk Lim Kian Hock. He was the previous SAO. They call him, the local will call Kunsel, yeah, of Fort Viner. So he has a lot of memories, yeah, of working at the fort, yeah, Fort Viner. And then also we have our previous PERMSAC, Dato during that time 6 October 2022, I think during that time our ministry announced that, yeah, we plan to link all the 10 historical forts. Actually now we have 14, but our planning now is to actually link even those who are not the forts that is no more in existence, actually form that memorial, the memory part, yeah. So as a UNESCO World Heritage Sites, I think it can qualify as a intangible heritage site as well. Okay, so now at this moment, when we think about the exhibits in museum and gallery, it's more of the tangible part, yeah. But then the intangible part has often been neglected, yeah. So we are more focusing on the objects, exhibits, and all that. So the intangible part actually is very rich, yeah. Like who, when, what, how to weave. It is more than just a cultural expression, but it reflects the wealth of information, yeah, and the stories that has been passed from one generation to another. So for example, this is another one, Kelidiang Sungai Ud. This one is from the Melanau community, and they were transporting it into the new museum, Borneo Cultures Museum, back in I think it was in 2020, yeah, during the COVID time, all right, because they were preparing for the opening of the museum, yeah, in 2022. So at that time, we had the direct descent, Pok Mo and the son here, right? They were there to do the ceremony, yeah. And then this is how that Caladium looks like in inside our Borneo Cultures Museum. And so then after that, I think in 2022, received a letter from the Melanau community in Oya and Ud River, Dalat lah, yeah. And then they informed us that actually that Caladium is a twin. You know, there's another one which has fallen into the river, okay, into the Sungai Ud. So what we did was we worked with the local community, the descendants of this Caladium, and then we actually get our Sarawak Coast Guard to do a sonar, yeah, around this area, which where they believe it has tumbled down. Yeah. So then from the sonar, we actually found that there's something that is quite similar to what has been described. Yeah. Of course, the Coast Guard was stationed there for more than 2 weeks. Yeah. Trying to, you know, check whether it's just a logwood or, you know. So this is what our ministry is also, I mean, the Ministry of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts is trying to do with the museum. Yeah. So this is another one, our burial pole. Okay. And so that one was from the Melanau community, and this is from the Punan community. And I took this photo also about the same time was when architect Dominic was doing his restoration at Fort Emma. Yeah? It was right before the pandemic. Yeah, so this was at Punan Bar village. And then these are some of the Caladium at Punan Bar, and some because it's very high up, yeah, very tall. So this one was struck by the thunder, lightning, yeah, okay. And then we have the single pole salon. So among the Kajang group, yeah, the Kejaman, Lahanan, yeah, Skapan, they have Skapan, Kejaman, Lahana, and Berawan. Yeah, this salon is quite unique to them. Yeah, so this is also a secondary burial. And then in Punan Bar, we also have ladies who have a lot of tattoos on their arms. Yeah, and the tattoo is a representation for the as a light that will lead them in the afterworld. Okay. So the tangible and intangible are often discussed as separate entities, but they are not. Yeah, they are interdependent. Yeah, they supplement each other. Yeah, so the intangible heritage actually gives meaning to the tangible heritage. For example, a fort, tangible product, tangible item is significant because of the social memory, social history, intangible portion that is associated with it. So for example, Fort Emma. Fort Emma is well known for its 9 laughing skulls. Yeah, it is believed that sometime the skull actually would move by itself around the fort. Yeah, I don't know if architect Dominic has encountered that kind of experience,
I
but
heard about it.
the 9 laughing skulls. So what happened was on the 8th of August 2018. Yeah, I think maybe somebody has discussed and chose the 8888 thing, yeah. And they did a mirroring, yeah. It is a very considered a big mirroring, because the person who leads the mirroring has to be a bujang berani, someone who has killed an enemy before lah. So they got a colonel who had service during the insurgency. Yeah, I think it was Lieutenant Colonel Singai. Yeah. So this is called Bedengar. Yeah, someone who has killed an enemy. And then also for the mirroring part, the pig and the little pig chosen has to be of certain, you know, quality. Yeah, the pig cannot must have a good life, you know, prosperous life like that, you know, has been given birth 3 times, odd number or something like that. Yeah, so all this is you know, so we have a fort, and then there is a laughing skulls, you know, that is supposed to be haunting, yeah. But then, you know, there's so many things that's happening in this fort, the stories, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that we have tangible part, but then we sometimes often, you know, focus too much on the tangible product, the exhibit, that we forgot, yeah, that there's a lot of elements, the story, yeah, inside the along with the tangible product item, yeah, or the site or the monuments, yeah. Okay. So according to Manjari, yeah, cultural heritage should speak through the values that people give it and not the other way around. Yeah. The tangible can only be understood and interpreted through the intangible. However, now the paradox lies in the
So means that the
aspect
west
that
side will
the
dismantle and
intent.
rebuild, right? That the wall.
Mr. Chingling, you're
Yeah, yeah.
you're
Please switch
speaker.
off your, yeah, please switch off your
Yeah,
microphone,
west.
please.
Yeah.
So that day we must share one.
We all know what is working on now.
Hold on.
Interpretation first.
Mr. Chin Ling, Dr. Chin, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So, you know, many a time we focus too much on the tangible that we totally forgotten that, you know, our forefathers actually built all these things with story, memory, you know, alongside. So I do hope that, you know, even if ICOMOS, yeah, is, you know, trying to register or identify all these tangible monuments and sites, we must always remember that both are equally important. Okay. And so then I mean during the talk with during AR Dominic's presentation, there's a lot about the word of community, yeah. So communities are the guardian, yeah. So they are the custodian. So the word curator in museum is also the same, yeah. They are the custodian, yeah. So if we have community who are the custodians, yeah, so they should be always their, you know, their engagement, yeah, they should be a very close engagement with them so that we can actually use their expertise, their knowledge and everything, to help us, yeah, in this. So as researcher, we know nothing. We're only good and at you know, documenting, writing or something like that. But the actual people who knows the most, yeah, is the community, yeah, the guardian, yeah, the custodian. Okay. So then these are the things about heritage. Mr. Chingling. Dr. Tan Chingling. Okay. So then the heritage part is we must be very aware of the tangible, intangible, and how, you know, each of it is interdependent. Yeah. And then as you know, time progress, yeah, and it's quite sad that when sometimes I do go to field work and people say that they are Catholic, they are Buddhist, so therefore they don't go to temples, they don't go to, you know, they don't believe in such belief anymore. But we must think that, you know, these are something that our forefathers have practiced, and there must be some something that helped them to go through life that time, yeah. So all these practices, yeah, should be appreciated and should be documented, should be brought, yeah, to the awareness of more people, yeah. So that is the part on the appreciation, and then once we get to appreciate, then we get to respect, yeah, and then slowly we can instill that kind of patience, yeah. Okay, so I think it is something that we need to talk more about, yeah. And I'm very fortunate that ICOMOS is doing this kind of short talks, yeah. At least we can share and create more awareness, yeah. All right. Yeah. So last is my favorite, yeah. Tak lapor, dek hujan, tak lekang, dek panas. So that is how important our heritage is, yeah. So so that's all from me. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Helena. Such a very interesting
I'm trying to speed
presentation.
up.
Yeah. I wonder whether there is actually plan. Let's say if you found the artifacts in the river, are they planning to salvage it or what?
Yes. Our government is trying to do that. Yeah. Of course, during the the salvaging part, yeah, there's a lot of do's and don'ts lah, you know, even for our divers to go in, yeah, so they have to be very strong, yeah, at the heart, yeah. So we did try one before, and nobody dares to actually touch it. So then you really need to do some upacara lah, yeah. Yeah.
See.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Elena. Very, very interesting. I think this fits with the, you know, whatever it is, when you mentioned about awareness, appreciate, and passion, you know, whether tangible or intangible, it's always start with awareness. So I think thank you very much for sharing this kind of awareness with all of us. All right, now we move on to the Q&A session. I guess we have for anyone who wants to ask a question, you can write it on the chat box. But now we have one, at least for now, we have one message from Kelvin Jemarang. A little information on the clearing at Punan Bar were destroyed by fire on May 2008. So Dr. Elena, would you like to respond to that comment, I guess?
Mr. Kelvin is
piece
from
of the-
a Punan from that area. I think he knows better than me. So yeah.
Okay.
Some
All
of the
right.
people
So
say
that's
it's
an addition.
it was struck by the lightning, and then some people say it was destroyed by the fire. But not
I see.
but it was long time ago lah, yeah. But it's still there. Yeah, it's a very sad, but I think I mean, it sends us a story, a good warning that, you know, nothing is permanent, you know. So like tangible heritage is even more hazardous, yeah, to climate change and all this, yeah, disaster, yeah. So we must try to expedite lah, whatever we can do now, yeah. But of course, awareness has to be there. Government has to be aware, NGOs has to be aware, you know, and if everybody works together, then something could be done faster. Yeah.
All right. We have second question from Christopher Hicks. Is Fort Emma, I think this is for Dominic, so maybe for Dr. Elena as well, is Fort Emma currently on its original position from 1859, or has it been moved? If it was moved, when was it moved? Where was the original location?
Now,
Okay.
maybe I try to answer this first. Yeah.
Okay, please, Dr.
From
Elena.
my research, Fort Emma is the second oldest fort in Sarawak after Fort Skorang. Yeah. So actually, 1851, and from what we
Okay.
gather is it was moved. Originally, it was in another location. And then it was moved to the confluence of Rajang and Kanawit River, yeah, in 1859. So sometimes when we, you know, there's two dates, you know, because what you mean, you know, like this is the fort in this town, but then it was moved a bit. So then sometimes there are two years that pops up lah, yeah. But yes, it was moved, yeah, Dr. Christopher, yeah.
Yes. I understand the first one was further inland, made of bamboo, which got burned down, 1851. And then it was moved to the conference, like what Dr. Elena said. Then this is the third, the first move, second move already. Yeah. So that's why
do we know?
Sorry? When was
sorry,
it?
please.
As our while we are doing the lab report and the research, it was actually the current site. It's built in 1861. So the original one was 1851. But all this while, the museum even when you say Fort Emma, they still put the date 1851. That is the first original fort that is made of bamboo, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So which was burned down.
And do we still know the original location before
Not
it was
really. The original site, there is no because it's kind of temporary lah. I mean, made of bamboo. Yeah, it's based on our research lah. So it's good that all this part we need to engage some sort of researcher lah. Otherwise, it will be what we learn from the internet may not be complete lah. unless we have somebody like Dr. Alina who actually go through all those all government journals and all that, which a lot of work, which is a lot of work. That's why it is good in our contract before we tender, we allow all these things in already. But in fact, the researcher is part under our consultancy as a specialist.
How about the second move? This is also a question from Dr. Christopher. How about
The second move is nearer the conference there, nearer the Penang River and the Rejang River. This is the second move already, from what we understand. And also, Dr. Alina, the skull story, we when we heard it, we kind of get all these hair stand up, There's a story of some museum people who go and stay the night there. So because there's a basket of skulls there, so they decide to move the basket outside so they can sleep there. So the next morning when they wake up, the basket of skulls is actually inside already.
Yeah.
So it was quite scary,
Yeah.
I didn't show it, but actually I took some photos. It's really blackened skull. That's more than 100 years old already.
Yeah.
And also later, when the project is completed, the mirroring also include the moving back the skulls also. I'm not sure whether it's inside there, but they move it. There's another mirroring ceremony performed for that move. Yeah. That's why the intangible aspect, I hope museum can get into it. There's a lot of stories over there. This, like you say, the second order spot already. Yeah.
Yeah, that will somehow improve the exhibition, and of course, I mean, it gives people more understanding of the place. We have second questions. Another questions from Sherilyn Kang. Are Jerunai and Klirieng refer to the same burial pole, or do they have different roles in Melanau burial tradition in the past? Maybe Dr. Lina can answer this question.
Okay. Now, I'm on. Okay. Now for Jerunai and Klirieng, so when we went to Sungai Ud Dalat area, there were Melanau leaders, community leaders, and they told us that actually I think in different parts of Dalat, Muka, Oya, they call it differently. Yeah, it's not because of the different bangsawan or the the aristocracy, not like the Kajang or the Punan, but it's because of the places where they are. Right. So I have not really done anything on the Melanau burial practices, eschatology, but I believe it's because of the different parts. They are not the same, if you say they are Melanau, they will tell you there are some differences, okay. So the Jerunai and Klirieng, they refer to the same burial practice, and there are no one Jerunai or Klirieng that looks the same, because when you carve a burial pole, the person who carves needs to have dreams. You cannot just carve according to what you have done before. You must have a connection with the deceased. And sometimes the family members will tell something, the preference or like the signs, that the person say he or she wants it that way. But sometimes they get the dream. So that's why it takes a long time for a burial pole to be carved. You cannot just carve it to meet some timeline. No, you need to have the connection with the afterworld. All right. So talking back about that, so I guess now Sherilyn, so they don't have different roles. It's a secondary burial. Okay, it's a secondary burial where after the deceased are put into a special place, all right, and then the community, the family members will go out to find the perfect size of that wood, the belian, and then they start to have engagement, with the other world. So the person who carve it must have that connection to the spiritual world. All right. Okay. So can I go to the next one? I think there's another question for me. Bazaar.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Bazaar. Bazaar in I don't know how in West Malaysia. Do you have bazaar? It's like pasar lah, yeah? Or it's like a marketplace.
Pasar, yes.
Yeah. But it's a bit bigger. It's like a town. Okay. So I think Novena is not from Sarawak, yeah. So if you come to Sarawak, you will see that there are small little towns that we call as bazaar. But bazaar actually usually means along the river, they will start to have some kind of a Chinese shop first, trading, and they usually face the riverfront, and then the people will come, the communities, ethnic groups will come and buy, bring their products, and then they do the barter trade, and then they go back using their boats, you know. So bazaar originally is just that row of shops, but now it has expanded, yeah, with residential areas around, yeah. Okay, so it is very unique, yeah. It is very unique. Okay.
That's interesting. All right. Okay, so now we move on to the next question by Azira. I'm very interested about the skulls at Fort Emma. May I know whose skull is that?
You have to do mirroring lah to ask.
Yes,
There are
yes.
9 of them. Azira,
Yeah.
this is very interesting because we respect we never dare, you know, to ask who are you, you know, takut nanti dirasuk lah, yeah. But we believe these are the people, maybe they I don't think they pass away in the forts themselves lah, yeah. Maybe they are presented as gifts, yeah, to the colonial officers, yeah. So this one we don't really know. Okay, but I think when Fort Emma, now they are doing the what do you call that, refurbishment, yeah, the interior side. So, you know, please come to Fort Emma and you will get the story inside the forts. So that fort, I think it should be open next year, right?
I hope so. I posted some photos of the skull in the basket in the chat group lah. So
Yeah, don't get
you have a
nightmares.
look. Yeah, that's why it is supposed to be the skull of the enemies lah. That's what we heard lah. Huh? So,
Yeah.
but being more than 100 years old, there's a lot of spiritual connotation to this.
Okay.
For those who want to
Dr.
see
Elena.
in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually on the chat box. Wow, very interesting. Still in that rattan basket. That basket is new, I
Yes.
guess. Is it the same old basket?
Yes, they might have changed over the years, but it is kept
Okay.
there in
It has to be big enough to store all 9, ba?
It's not hanging there, you know. I mean, yeah. So it's quite
Okay.
yeah. All right.
So a question by Suraya. Any publication books on two things, forts as well as the various burial poles that would you recommend? Compilation of research.
Okay, this you have to wait because when I was doing my research on these forts and the burial poles, I suddenly got seconded to the ministry, so I had to stop everything. So maybe next year when I go back to UNIMAS, I can start writing.
Okay.
But this is something that I must do before I retire. Okay, so I will retire not very long from now, so I have to quickly write the books. Yeah.
Looking forward for the book.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Elena, by Kelvin again, Dr. Elena is partially correct. Only one clearing was burned by lightning, but it was not among those featured in her presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kelvin. Yeah.
Okay. There's a follow-up question by Dr. Christopher. I'm confused. Brooke built the fort 17 April 1851 with labor provided by Sharif Masaho. Then it was burned June 1859 after the murders of Fox and Steele, then rebuilt by Charles in August 1859, possibly in a new location. So when was the move?
So I think Mr. Kelvin provided something, right?
Oh, it wasn't burned. Okay. It was burned during the riot, which forced Sawing, Sekala, and Talib to flee to Tujuh Matahab Laga. Maybe Dr. Christopher can forward that question later.
It's a Fort Brook, is it? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. All right. So, any more
This looks like
questions? We are
Chinese
approaching.
basket, huh?
It's quite big. It's quite big actually. The
Yeah.
basket is quite big.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but not only this one lah. I mean, there are still a few forts like the one in Baram, yeah, like Fort Leo Matu, yeah, Fort Long Aka, yeah. These are forts that should be given highlights as well, yeah. But because they are quite far, so transportation is a problem for the researcher and all that. But we hope that, you know, in future, we can get more people, or maybe during the ICOMOS GA 2026, we can organize some kind of trips there, you know, going far into the Baram area and have a look at the forts, yeah. And there are also very interesting stories about these forts, you know. If you sleep in there, you're gonna dream of some princesses, you know.
All right. Okay. Any more questions? We are approaching 1 hour and 30 minutes already.
Yeah, so maybe Dr. Christopher and Mr. Kelvin, yeah, you can share each other's contact, and yeah, since both of you
Like,
knows a lot about Fort Emma.
Yes.
Yeah. We are mainly focused on the tangible side, like how to restore it. Yeah.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, I think we had a very wonderful session by both of our speakers. So thank you very much to
Thank
everyone.
you.
Before we end, I would like to promote if anyone interested to share their subject, or you know, as part of sharing knowledge, you can actually write to us, submit the form. I think the organizers have shared the link on the text on the chat box, so you can write to us to propose a topic, because we just want to share, you know, knowledge with everyone, especially on heritage and culture.
Dr. Shaifu, please
Second thing,
promote our
yes.
GA, please.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm about to. All right. And then the second thing is that we are also part of the huge Asia Pacific committee that organized a heritage impact assessment webinar that is actually been happening for the past couple of months. We have two webinars, recorded webinars. You can watch it on our YouTube channel, ICOMOS. You can just write ICOMOS Malaysia on YouTube, and you can watch those heritage impact webinars on issues, challenges on HIA, particularly in the Asia Pacific region and East Asia edition. So, and last but not least, we want to tell everyone here who hasn't got the information yet that in 2026, ICOMOS Malaysia will be hosting General Assembly, the so-called the Olympics of Cultural Heritage, and that will be happening in Kuching, Sarawak. So, of course, Dr. Elena and Dr. Architect Dominic is one of those important people who will be helping running the GA. So for those who are interested, keep you know, we will keep things updated in our Facebook, and then hopefully you can join us in Kuching in 2026. All right. The next Sembrani event will be sometime in April. We haven't got the exact date yet, but then you can also watch our Facebook for announcement, and hopefully you can join us in the next session as well. So we have also shared the call for abstracts for those interested in presenting. You can see it on the chat box. Yeah, I believe that many of you would like to share things that you know, knowledge or something like that. So we're open to all to be part of this Sembrani 2.0 Heritage Rounders. All right. So if there's no more question, I think that's all for today. Please scan the QR code to give your feedback. It's on the screen now. And hopefully we can see you next time in our next edition of Sembrani 2.0.